Good day, ladies and gents. I'm Emilio A. Colon Sr. This is the EC Show coming to you from sunny South Florida. This is a full EJ production. EJ's in the background shooting us in association with Jeremy Torres of the Performing Arts Center here in Coral Springs. This show is fully sponsored by KD Power Greens. KD Power Greens is our urban farm microgreens company that we own. Make sure you get all your delicious microgreens at kdpowergreens.com. And a big special edition Respect EC merch coming out May 3rd at enasiacolon.com. ENASIACOLON.com. Now, the guy to my left is a dear friend of mine, Jesse. I appreciate you joining me, Jesse Morales.
Yes, sir.
I personally invited Jesse to be here today. And the reason why I invited Jesse to be here today was because Jesse and I have conversations off camera that I felt like there's an audience for. And Jesse agreed. So, Jesse, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, man, thank you. First, I want to say, I'm a little nervous because I've never been on the lights.
That's okay. The lights are bright.
That's all right,
You got to be able to perform when the lights are bright.
This occasionally, I'm just keeping it real,
You're good. Don't worry about it. It's
but
great.
I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
Of the show. I'm a big fan of you and what you do and how you demonstrate and model, success and entrepreneurship. The people that you have on the show. Just phenomenal people, man.
Right.
I mean, fun, right? A lot of interesting perspectives, but yeah, man, I really see you guys evolving. It's really cool to see. Yeah.
Thank you, Jess. I mean, we involve the community more than anything else because if you got to win at home before you can win anywhere else. Obviously, EJ produces the show.
Yeah, EJ's incredible.
And EJ's the face she's the face of the franchise.
Yeah,
So she's the one. So, but the reason why I wanted to have you on is because we were discussing this last week, and a lot of it has to do with fatherhood.
Yeah.
Fatherhood. So, for those that don't know the story, my father passed away in 2000. He died, he had emphysema, he was a big smoker, even though he was celebrated and he supported the U.S. troops and he was a member himself. He just didn't listen. He literally just was in a quitter. We asked him to stop quitting smoking and he was like, nah, I'm not a quitter. And it ended up taking him. So, as I go on in life, being a father to Enasia and EJ, there's certain things like I just don't have the experiences in. So there's maybe like a handful of people, Jess, that I really reach out to. And Jesse was nice enough to extend his grace, his time, his experiences, his just knowledge on helping me out and navigating through certain things.
Wow. Real talk. I mean, I think you're really being a little over generous.
That's the truth.
No, I mean, but here's what really happened. Okay, somebody was looking for something, right? So one of the things that I've always admired about you is you've always pursued excellence. Like I remember when you started cutting hair. That's when I used to walk out of the barbershop all fucked up. I still will come back, and I don't know why.
Oh my God.
But no, really, I mean, we've known each other for a long time. Remember your kids when they were just little jits, And I've watched you, so I mean, just watching. It's not always where you get a friend, where you know a guy for 15, 20 years. We know at least each other 20 years. Not just myself, but I mean, look, you're in a unique position where because of your initial profession, right, haircutting, and you've made a success of that, you don't market that,
no,
right? You've always told me, Jess, I don't spend any money on advertising this or marketing this. So the fact is that your success as a barber or hairstylist is based on your relational equity.
Of course, because I value individuals and I make sure that
you built trust. You provided a service, clients were happy, they told others, and in no time at all, you established a baseline that you can now do things from.
Right.
Along the way, and look, I'm not trying to smoke you or gas you here. I just want, if you're really going to talk to your people about anything, before we even get into what I might have shared with you, that you may have found helpful, that you thought maybe, I do think there's a broader audience for some of the things that we'll touch
100%.
on. 100%. And a lot of what I'll share or what I've learned just came from experience. But you're right, you know, a lot of times coming up, we didn't have fathers to speak into our lives, you know. What we did well, we married well.
Thank God.
Come on now.
Thank God.
I know Wendy.
Thank God.
The more I know you, the more respect I have for her.
I would have been a wild man if I would have been a wild man.
No, Wendy's incredible. You know, so that you know, when you do that right, you know, you really are off to the races. But really, I guess my big point there was, you've been a real friend to me too, man.
Thank you.
Know, I've learned from you. I've gleaned from your life. I listen to your heartbeat. We're always fucking around. We're always having fun. We're
always. That's mandatory.
You know, we laugh our asses off, you know. But I see that same dynamic and interaction with you and your other clients, you know. And I'm like, this nigga cheating on me?
No.
What's going on,
it's just a level of consistency.
He loves other people the same way he loves me. He can't do that shit, you know. No,
that's
but
funny.
all things being equal, you know, this is just who you are. The success of your show, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Really proud of your son. I mean, you know, this young man does things that, you know, kids his age aren't even touching on, but largely because his father exposed him, gave him a vision, demonstrated something, right? Exhibited particular values, right? And so naturally your children are going to become what and then you didn't just do that, Born. You walked it, you talked it, and I observed you were very aggressive.
Stern.
Right.
I'm gonna get into that too.
Yeah,
the analogy you used.
All to say, forgive the long-windedness here, but
no, you're good.
You know, all to say, that's why we have the relationship we have. That's why we have the friendship. That's why I can watch your progress and just cheer you on. I really think you're going to be extraordinarily successful. I think your children will be and largely are. But I really think you're just scratching the surface.
Thank
man.
you.
It's really something to see.
Thank you. Now, mind you, I didn't pay him to say any of that. By the way. I didn't pay him to say any of that. No, by the way. But no, it was a personal experience that I was going through, and I was having through a really, really tough time on trying to figure this out. And because not at fault to anybody, just life taking its own way of doing things, I didn't necessarily have the individual to sit there and say, how do I do this? How do I figure this out? Like, I don't have the guidance to sit there and lead me in the direction to sit there and say, Papi, try this or see this or whatever it may be. And just kind of, he did his best way to explain it to me, even knowing everything that he just said, knowing how difficult and hard I am on my kids, knowing how I demand a level of excellence and stuff that we do or whatever it may be. Jess broke it down to me to where I was like, Jess, we have to speak this to other people. We have to, because that's great.
It's terrifying,
that's
but I'm getting more comfortable.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. Because he gave me an analogy, and he had mentioned a little bit of it. I'm glad he didn't fully bring it up because I wanted to use it. And it was like, you're holding the hammer of your family. Like, you're holding that hammer in your hand, and you're making sure you're developing the foundation brick by brick, whether you're building a house or whether you're building a railroad, you're building something, a pathway for them to go on. And as they get older, you got to kind of like turn that hammer sideways and give them the reins to be able to like do things and figure things out on their own, but you never really let go of the hammer.
Yeah, I'll clear that up. Yeah, that for the sake of clarity with that particular analogy. You know, first, anything that anyone can benefit from in terms of really, if you're really asking, just the step of humility.
Right.
I mean, listen to what you're talking about. I mean, so you're a man, you got young adult children.
19 and 15.
Right? And so they're young adults. And here you are asking another man that you respect. You made that clear. I feel the same way. I think we've reciprocated that for your audience. But yeah, I mean, that's a man, first of all. Let me just say, anyone who's willing to say something's wrong and I might be part of that wrong. I'm not sure. The humility that you demonstrate affords kind of the grace that you need to make change. But you got to want change. And so that's why, you know, if anything made sense to you, it was really because you initiated that. And I commend that. I admire that. But you're right. You know, I came up in Brooklyn, right, back in the day. So, you know, that's when Brooklyn.
Make sure you understood
that. No, that's when Brooklyn was Brooklyn. You feel me? And you know, hard times and all of that. I'm going to spare you all of that. But, you know, fatherlessness was my experience. Single mom, multiple dads, right? Concrete jungle, you know, stoop ball, handball, you feel me? Like, you know, okay. So the things that I've learned
along the way.
Yeah, so I think the first thing is I found a good woman, right? You know, a few bad misses along the way, a couple of kids, you know, but you know, I'll just, since I mentioned that, I'll just clear that up and just say I have 5 children. I have, you know, my wife raised all of my children. We have 3 biological children together. My oldest is 33, Lauren. My next one is Kimberly. She's 29. Jordan is 26, and he has 2 children. He's married, and baby girl is about to be 19, and she's in her 2nd year at PBA.
There you go.
So I say all of that to say, you know, when you have a good woman and you have that's really the starting point. So, okay.
So you're the bricks.
Hammer. Yeah, let me explain this whole hammer thing. Right? yeah. So
you're the brick. She's the cement.
There are a couple of analogies we talked about when we started. So here's the deal, right? You and Wendy, Melanie and myself, so many others that actually are together and stay together, which I really believe this is such a necessity. Like, will the real men please stand up? If I can say it that way. You feel me? Like, you know, being a man, in my opinion, I had this wrong for a long time, but it's not about conquest. You know, it's not about, you know, what's good, you know, how many females I can knuckle down with, you feel me? It's not about that.
No.
I mean, that's not what a man is, although, you know, our younger men see this as a portrayal of what it is.
Yeah, but that's
and I'm saying that part of the remedy to that, if there is one, or the hope that we have, is guys like you and women like Wendy and Melanie and myself that are willing to say, hey, you know,
and Jeremy and his wife.
Jeremy and his wife.
Been
How long are you
forever.
married, Jeremy?
9 years.
There you go.
9 years?
See?
You still in love, brother?
Yeah.
You better say that shit.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what happens? So for, I guess what I'm saying there is we need that guys like me, you, Wendy, Melanie,
The
other
examples.
couples that you know we really, if we have an opportunity to see beyond, if we can get our personal thing together, we really have an opportunity to influence
Others.
Yeah, even single dads, you know, or dads that don't know what they're doing, or abdicating because of lack of knowledge or lack of leadership.
Right.
We really, you know, and you're an influencer. I mean, let's just be honest, bro.
I've become one.
You've become one, and you've influenced my life. You know, you're a dear friend, and you know what you're doing here and the way you're using your platforms is for good, man. I'm really encouraged about that.
You know why though, Jess? Because I feel like there's not enough of it. I feel like, and just like anything else with life, and you understand this as we navigate through this, negative information travels so much faster than positive information.
Yeah, just see a bad movie, right?
Bad movie, you got a bad experience at a restaurant. You could have went there 100 times. The one time you went there was terrible. You probably never go back again. Like, it's the same exact thing. It's just like, you can have a great, you know, 10-year run with an individual, and then the next thing you know, you have a bad month, and it's like you're the worst person in the world. So for me, what I'm seeing and what I'm realizing more than anything else is like everything that's out there is kind of like, why? Like, we need something different.
Yeah.
And what I do is I allow our platform to be able to showcase individuals that are doing their thing or trying to do their thing, grinding, hustling, or whatever it may be, to showcase that as well.
Good, man.
Like, in all seriousness, like I said, like, you said it to me, and I was like, we need to say this to somebody, because even if one person watches this and they get something from it, that's the achievement.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. It's cool to be here, man.
Thank you for coming.
So, okay, the hammer, right? Before we sidestep that, no, I just want to get there. I was kind of setting it up to say that, you know, when you are doing what you're doing, you know, and EJ, you know, you want to aspire to this. You've got some good models around you. You know what to do. You know, You know what it's about. You know what it's not about. You know, I can see that in you already because you know your dad's phenomenal. But what you've learned and what I've learned along the way is that, you know, when this idea of the hammer, we rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, say that in the wrong context or to the wrong woman, and you know, it's a wrap. So let me jump really quick into, I just feel like, you know, if you're a man, I mean, I feel like I want to run my house. You feel me? Like I want to love my wife well. I want to provide for her. If she wants to work, she can, but you know,
I'm the king of the castle.
She doesn't have to.
Yeah.
King of the castle. But what happens is that's really necessary when our kids are young, right? Because you need to make sure that you're the primary influencer. They're in school a lot of times during the day. They're being subjected to all kinds of thoughts and stuff, you know. I mean, more and more parents are, you know, going to different educational routes. Actually, more doing it like
homeschool,
things like that. All kinds of, you know, wonderful options are out there. But all to say that, you know, when you're training your kids, when you're teaching your kids, and you're winning those battles. You know, don't touch that, and they go like this, and you say, no, I told you don't touch that. I said, okay, don't touch that, right? There's a consequence. It's usually going to be painful for interacting against what I'm telling you. Right.
So you're instilling the values into the individual.
You got it right. Now, what happens is you're teaching your kids. This is what we talked about, right? In Asia, you know, EJ, Lauren, Kimberly, you know, Jordan, Jada, Jared, all of them, they're phenomenal young adults. And it's because those things have been instilled. Right? Well, where a lot of us miss it is this, there comes this transition, and EJ, you'll testify to this, brother, where you actually start forming your own thinking patterns. They're governed largely by the influence of your leadership, but now the hammer looks different.
Right, of course.
Right, now the hammer is still in place. You're still ruling. You still have, you know, the ability to protect your family, to forge the way, so to speak. Right, to drop down the law or the rule if you have to. Right, hopefully in a loving way.
Yeah.
Right, but that's where we miss it, and this is where you were struggling. This is where I've struggled, and this is where I think a lot of parents struggle. They personally don't see the transitioning happening in their kids, where kids are now thinking on their own. They have their own thoughts.
Right.
They may not be your thoughts.
Right.
About a particular subject, and when we encounter that, we perceive it as pushback.
Yeah, of course.
But the reality is, it's not necessarily.
It's growth.
It's growth, and what we do. So now the old tactics actually start to have a different outcome.
They have a negative effect.
Yeah,
yes.
And we get lost in that sauce, and we don't understand what's going on. And a lot of times, neither do they. You feel me? Like everyone's filter is off.
Right.
What you did is really remarkable, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass, but I'm saying I actually said this to you. I just want to know.
Tell them. They need to know. They need to know. I don't mind.
You need to know.
They need to know. They need to know. They need to know. Tell them.
I'm gonna tell them.
Educate them.
I'm gonna put them on. I've talked to a lot of families, bro. A lot of people like this. You know, so this is a large part of what I do. But bro, I rarely have ever seen a time where we actually sat down, had this conversation.
Nice cup of coffee.
Bro, you said, Jess, I want to talk. We sat down and talked. I said, I'll be a friend to you. I had no idea what we're talking about. And EJ, it's not just for your ears, and Asia, Wendy, not just for your ears. Just hear what I'm saying. A man saw that he was at his crossroad, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, I was there, and I remember having this conversation with some of my peers and people who helped me along the way. You feel me? Thank God we got them, right?
Right, of course.
And he reached out for help, and that humility, that demonstration of need was really kind of cool, because it's kind of like you come in a little bit to the end of yourself and you're scratching your head and you feel a little bit desperate because the people you love the most, you feel like you're losing them a little bit.
Yeah, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do, so you seek the level of guidance.
So I shared some things with you because I didn't want to mince words and I wanted to be effective. Now, by the way, Born and I, we're not always talking on this level. We're
No,
laughing,
we're
talking
shooting the shit.
most of the time.
Jokes.
I love hearing about your farm, right?
Yeah.
You're doing
the farmer's market. And
yeah,
the farm and
man, I
everything
think
like
that's all cool, and to see the kids how they're prospering and Asia's accomplishment is beautiful, man. It's awesome, and that's what we talk about. But this was a different moment.
This was a different moment.
Yeah, this was entirely different, and
it needed the attention.
I mean, just that we tapped into a conversation like this, which is probably not common on your show, but all to say, I don't want to make it too deep, but
no,
the truth is, some new information came to you, and you felt like the information was so usable that you this is what I say I have not seen someone come out of a conversation like that level of conversation and then just like radically apply the new information. Didn't need time to process it because it landed in such a way, said this is truth, this is what I need to do, and then you acted on it. The outcomes, as I understand it, weren't exactly what you would have hoped for.
No.
But there was no hook attached. This wasn't a fishing expedition.
Right.
This wasn't transactional. This was, I'm wrong. I want to have a relationship with my adult children.
Better.
And I don't want to push them away. I love them, but I need help adjusting to the fact that they're becoming men and women.
Right.
And then, listen, in your particular case, and I'm sure a lot of your audience have phenomenal family members, children, cousins, nieces, right? That demographic, 15 to 21, no high expectations from society.
No.
Just get by, waste your youth, fuck around, drink, get fucked up, make some babies, this, that, and the third. That's all anybody expects from you. And you surprise them if you get anywhere,
right.
if you land with a good job. This society has low expectations of the most phenomenal
individuals on the planet
who could be, the most capable of high achievement. And look, you've demonstrated that in Asia and EJ, respectively.
Thank you.
And frankly, if we were looking at this in terms of data and statistics, it would be top 1%.
Thank you.
I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah, you said that, and you mentioned that to me, and it resonated because it was like, if I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna hold myself accountable, who better than my own family? Like, you know what I'm saying? Who
I was floored when you told me what you did and that you pulled your family together because you realized just through our dialogue, and here's the big reveal, right? Yeah, man, we're raising young adults in a hard society, in a tough world. And when we see young adults in our families, like EJ and Anisha and so many others, I'm sure, performing well, we still have a tendency to just draw attention to what they're not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And areas where they can still need adjustment and they're not full-grown adults. But we're not drawing attention to that. So combine that with a heavy hand and all you're doing is pointing out what you see is wrong. Well, that's not very encouraging. It's not very edifying. It's not very building. So your children aren't going to look to you for those things because they perceive you as never satisfied.
Right.
When you get a hold of that, the way you did, I'm telling you, it's if you mean it. Now here's the thing: you can't fuck around. It's not leveraging. It's not.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't.
You gotta come from a place of like I
didn't sugarcoat anything. I told them from the beginning. I said, look, it's not gonna be cold turkey. Daddy's still gonna revert back sometimes to the way he was. That's just being honest and upfront with them. That's just being the truth.
Yes.
But the reality of it is that going forward, because I didn't have this guidance and I'm being a father for the first time to both of you, please be mindful that I'm navigating this as a father individually by myself. Yes, I have my better half, right? Yes, I have Wendy. But as a father, there's certain things that I cannot necessarily go to my father for explanation or for excuse.
You know what I found out too? That when I had to go to my kids, because I've had to do this, right? I've had to say, hey, I remember one of my sons, he's like me. He's very forceful, aggressive, strong, strong natured. I'm a business owner. I've owned businesses. I've done well. All my money went to 5 kids, but you feel me? Like, yeah, I mean, but he's like me. And, as he was getting older, the force of our personalities were clashing.
Right.
But again, he had formed his own thoughts. I raised him, you know, but I wasn't embracing him as a young adult or giving him permission to be one.
Right.
But the moment I acknowledged that, I said, listen, man, you know what? The force of our personalities. My wife helped me. She said, you're going to get him to perform because you're going to be stronger than him. Because you're going to lay it down that fucking hammer. You feel me? Like, you hold it, right? And you know what? He'll yield because there's no way you're going to let him not.
Right.
But you're going to lose him in the process.
You're going to lose him along the way.
So you'll get some performance, but as soon as he could be out, he's out.
Right.
And along the way, he's telling you, yeah, Dad, yeah, Dad. And in his mind, he's like, I just want to create space.
And there's a very famous saying. It says, you know, especially when it comes to a man and his family, it's like, if you really want to see success in a man's family, is when his kids leave the home and they want to come back to the home.
Copy that, bro. You know, I enjoy my adult children inviting me into the dialogue today. And that is the desired outcome.
Absolutely.
You know, I would say to any young adult that I've already identified as marvelous. I mean, if you're between 15 and 21, 22, not to suggest that any other age isn't, but that's, listen, man, we really should be leaning in and trying to develop young people like you've done, and because they just need a break, they need someone to believe in them, and a lot of times it's not coming from home, or mom is just overwhelmed, or dad is overwhelmed. I mean, it's fucking hard to make a living out here.
Of course it is. It's hard to make a living. It's hard to raise a family in today's society. Everything is hard, but everything comes with work as well. And something that you had mentioned to me that really I held on too tight was when you asked me, what kind of relationship do I want to have with my kids a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So I just stayed focused on that more than anything else. It was basically like, what kind of relationship do I want to have with them going forward? And then right then and there, I knew, like, based off of what you asked me, I got to put this work in.
Well, that's where you caught a vision.
That's what I caught the vision.
That's where you caught a vision that you didn't have, and it starts with that. You know, you get a vision for this thing, and it latches onto your heart because you say, yeah, that's what I want. And then you recognize that you were actually putting that vision in danger.
Right.
When I walked in after me and Jared were clashing, and I said to him, after my wife broke that down to me, I told him, I said, listen, I want to say something to you. You don't have to say nothing, and I don't even know if you're listening because it's all gone in the wind now.
Right.
But I want to make you a commitment. I'm going to do my best, kind of like you said, and I pray I never revert, right? Although, you know, we're work in progress, you know.
Same thing.
Like, listen, my kids still need my leadership.
Absolutely.
And you would, you know, I would say to that demographic, you would do well to lean into the experiences of those who are before you. And I would say to those who have gone before you, who are offering your experiences, to be gentle.
Absolutely.
You know, they don't have 40-year-old filters and 35-year-old filters or 20-year. You know, these are young people who are in a hard world and they're exposed to every fucking thing in the world. Everything at 7 years old. You can find anything you want. It's just ridiculous. So they definitely have it harder. So we really need to lean into that demographic. I really believe that that demographic is obviously represented in your family. I told Jared that day, I said, bro, I'm gonna say something to you. If God gives me grace, bro, I'm never gonna raise my voice to you again.
That's amazing.
Now let me tell you,
That's
I'm gonna fast
amazing.
forward and tell you that did have the desirable outcome. It took a little while for us to start reconnecting. But I can't be in the same room without giving this man a deep hug. You feel me?
That's beautiful.
He went on to graduate at I think EAS. Not see, I got EAS. I got your adjective. ASE. You know, he's a audio sound technician.
Okay.
He has a degree, and he's in music. Wokyo Productions. Check him out.
There you go. There goes a shout out.
You know, I never did that before. You know. Wokyo.
No, you
phenomenal.
do it. You just do it in the shop all the time.
Yeah, no, really. He's EDM artist. He does phenomenal. Wokyo Productions. I mean, if you want to look him up, he's constantly putting on performances. He's really growing in his brand. My point there wasn't to promote him, although I did, was to say that we were going. I mean, we were two opposing magnets.
You're going in the wrong direction.
And what you did. And what I did, because new information came, is we caught a vision and said, you know what? I love being their dad when they were young, but let me tell you something. They're going to need you in this world as young adults in their young 20s, and if you didn't put that relational equity, if you didn't build that along the way, and you didn't catch this that we're talking about, they're gonna find out somewhere else, and maybe they're gonna make some mistakes. Nothing's 100%, but you get me.
No, absolutely, and you guys don't understand how valuable all this information that Jesse and myself are giving to you, because there's people in this world that charge for this. Like, they literally will charge you. They'll be your life coach. They'll basically explain to you, this is what you need to do, blah, 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 blah. But in all actuality, at the end of the day, you have to look in the mirror, look at yourself, hold yourself accountable, and sit there and say, I want to be better for whatever reason. That's just it.
Gotta have a vision, right?
Gotta have the vision. Absolutely. I appreciate you. Well, guys, that's going to conclude today's episode. By the way, I didn't do this in the beginning, but today's episode, as always, is powered by Ignite Social. Ashley, Claudia, Carly, even Phil, because Phil's the drone specialist. We got something coming up soon, real soon. But guys, make sure you click like, subscribe on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Once again, the show is sponsored by KD Power Greens, our urban farm microgreens company that myself and my kids own. And May 3rd, all of your EC Respect merch, military drop for service members and servicemen and servicewomen, at EnasiaCologne.com. ENASIACOLON.com. Jesse, thank you once again. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. See you next episode.